Assalamualaikum everyone. Today I will present about a great scholar, Imam Ash-Shafi'i, who is known as the father of Islamic jurisprudence. His contribution to Islamic law and education are still used today. Moving on to the next slide. Imam Shafi'i full name is Muhammad ibn Idris Ash-Shafi'i. He was born in the year 150 AH, which is 767 century AD, in Gaza, Palestine. He passed away in 204 AH and 820 CE in Egypt. He lost his father at a young age and grew up in a poor family. Despite this, he memorized the Quran by the age of 7. He traveled to different places like Mecca, Medina, and Iraq to learn from the best scholar of his time. Next slide. His contribution to Islamic law. Imam Ash-Shafi'i is the founder of the Shafi'i school of thought, one of the four main schools in Islamic law. His most famous book is Al-Risala, where he explained how Islamic laws should be understood and practiced. He introduced four main sources of Islamic law: the Quran, which is the word of Allah; Sunnah, the teaching of Prophet Muhammad; Ijma', the agreement of scholar; and the fourth one is Qiyas, reasoning by analogy. These principles help make Islamic law more structured and organized. Moving on to next slide. Teaching methods. Imam Ash-Shafi'i had a unique way of teaching. He combined traditional learning with logical thinking. He encouraged his students to analyze and debate instead of just memorizing. He also focused on good character and ethics, teaching his students to be humble and honest in their learning. His method of questioning and reasoning is still used in Islamic schools and universities today. Moving on to next slide. His influence can be seen in many ways. He was a teacher of another great scholar, such as Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. His books Al-Risala and are still studied by students of Islamic law worldwide. For example, in schools today, students are taught to have respect for knowledge and their teacher. This follows Imam Ash-Shafi'i teaching, as he always emphasized the importance of humility in learning. He believed that knowledge should not just be memorized, but should also benefit a person's life. Moving on to next slide. For personal qualities. Imam Ash-Shafi'i was not only an expert in Islamic law but also in Arabic language and poetry. He was known for his wisdom, patience, and deep faith in Allah. One of his famous quotes is, "Knowledge is what benefits, not what is memorized." This means that true knowledge is not just about remembering facts, but about applying what we learn in our daily life. Moving on to conclusion. In conclusion, Imam Ash-Shafi'i's contribution to Islamic law and education are still important today. He left a legacy of balancing faith, logic, and ethics. His teaching continues to guide scholars and students all over the world. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something valuable about Imam Ash-Shafi'i. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.